countless acts of kindness and shared experiences that have changed people's lives.
Our school shares a long history with the city, which is itself agricultural broad South Africa, and this provides many opportunities for us to partner with local schools and organizations in meaningful ways that bring together children and institutions.
This small city is home to Africa's largest celebration of the arts, the National Arts Festival, the Science Fest, 52 churches, and Rhodes University, which was founded out of St. Andrews College in 1904.
Being so close to some of the most breathtaking beaches, wildlife reserves, and country districts as Africa has to offer, outdoor education is a key component of the college experience, with our flagship experience being Epic Fish Journey.
Could there be any better school in which a young boy could grow up, enjoy a world-class education, discover and develop his unique giftedness, and grow in confidence to go out into the world, leading to better places than found?
Welcome to our parents. Once again, we're so excited to be here and listen. We look forward to training each of you and hopefully you can be this and celebrate the parents of the year with your goals.
Welcome to all the Andrews from around the globe. Thank you for your extraordinary support of college and your continued interest in the old school.
Welcome to Mr. Jack Reed, our Chairman of Council, and to our council members. Thank you for all the time, energy, and expertise that you invest into college, and for your genuine love of and concern for the school. It is greatly appreciated.
Welcome to past staff and friends of college who are watching this live stream. And finally, welcome to staff and boards who make up St. Andrews College. Welcome to Speech Day 2021.
The underlying theme this afternoon is a celebration of our courageous and dedicated teaching staff. Being a full boarding school, the commitment of our teachers is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they have simply carried on without missing a beat, despite every curveball that has been thrown at them over the past 2 years.
It is appropriate for us boys to remember that famous quote by Nelson Mandela: education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
But as we honor our teachers this afternoon, it is probably more pertinent to recall Pericles, who said that what you leave behind is not what is engraved on stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
And welcome to our prize winners here at Centenary Hall, and also to the Matric prize winners' parents who have joined us this afternoon. On stage we have Mr. Alan Thompson, our headmaster, our chaplain, Reverend Richard Waingard, and our head of school, Malibongwe Nkosi, who will be addressing us later this afternoon.
And we are most privileged to welcome two very special guests to Speech Day 2021. Firstly, the Right Reverend Ebenezer Nhlali, Bishop of Makhanda. We are very privileged that you have joined us this afternoon, Your Grace.
And our guest of honor, King Vululwanile Sandile, the 10th monarch of the Kgagabe royal family, who has kindly agreed to hand out our prizes this afternoon. Thank you, Your Highness, for blessing us with your presence. The headmaster will welcome you more formally shortly.
As is traditional, we start our speech day with a prayer that is said by the youngest boy in the school. This year's Esplanite, Amogelang Habi, and the prayer will be followed by the school hymn, a more meditative version than what we usually use, and you are asked to remain seated for the school hymn, and in interests of COVID safety, enjoy the performance of the school hymn in silence.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for Speech Day 2021. We thank you that despite the disruption, we are still able to continue learning. We are grateful for all those who made this possible. Thank you for the privilege of education and for the blessing of the dedicated teachers and coaches and staff. We thank you for the achievements of the other boys and everything that we have overcome. We ask you to bless the proceedings today and remember that all things come from you, and of your own do we give you. Amen.
Jesus calls us o'er the tumult of our life's wild restless sea. Day by day his sweet voice soundeth, saying, Christian, follow me. As of old Saint Andrew heard it by the Galilean lake, turned from home and toil and kindred, leaving all for his dear sake. Jesus calls us from the worship of the vain world's golden store, from each idol that would keep us saying, Christian, love me more. In our joys and in our sorrows, days of toil and hours of ease, still he calls in cares and pleasures, Christian, love me more than these. Jesus calls us by thy mercy, Saviour, make us hear thy call. Give the heart to thine obedience, serve and love thee best of all.
It is my great honor this afternoon to welcome His Majesty the King, Bululwandle Sandile of the Kgagabi Kingdom. It is a great honor that you have bestowed upon us by being with us both at this ceremony and the retreat which will follow this afternoon. And we thank you on behalf of the boys and of the staff and of council for being with us this afternoon. Thank you.
Avulwandle. Your Majesty, I rise on your behalf to accept the words coming from the headmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, it is a great pleasure for us to set our feet in the land of our ancestors, where, as different races of this country, we met together. But today, on a very lovely rainy day, a show of blessings and a show of reconciliation, a show of an indication of our inclusivity as God's people. Mr. Thompson, it's beautiful for us in the company of our King to be here and to participate in the beautiful program that we have set with your leadership, greatly in front of this magnitude of great boys and their teachers, for you to have honored us to come and be part of this process of creating good citizenry in our country. So therefore, we'll participate. Where possible, we'll watch, because people of my age, they will really enjoy seeing young citizens being groomed to be good citizens of tomorrow. Without any further ado, at the right time, Prince Zulile Nxumalo will say more. Thank you very much.
It has been a great privilege for me to be the head of Mullins House during its centenary this year. When I first heard that I would be in Mullins House at the end of 2016, I felt a surge of emotions. I was nervous, excited, and a bit scared. From the first day I set foot into the house of gentlemen, I knew I was at home. The energy, support, and guidance that this house has given me has been nothing short of memorable. I look back at my time here and I feel forever thankful for being a part of it all. I've had my best moments in these walls and I've made relationships which will forever be imprinted in my heart. When doing some research about Mullins House, it occurred to me that this house is built upon such rich and strong history. College had expanded so much in the 20th century that it was necessary to build a fifth house. So, in 1921, Mullins House was opened with the much-loved Foxy Nolan as his first housemaster. His spirit has been one with Mullins ever since. Some would say he's the friendly ghost that gets new boys moving quickly from Holland House to Main House across Nolingfield at night time. But also as a reminder of Foxy Noling, a plaque outside the tuck shop quad was placed. Engraved on that plaque are three simple words: steadfast, devoted, and loyal. And to this day, no boy treads on that precious plaque. Mullins' unique ethos is still alive and well. You boys still raise the South African flag on the flagpole that was moved across to Mullins from the Mullins Institute, better known as Graham House, in 1928. Along with these kept traditions, echoes from the boys playing five still evade the passages of the 100-year-old house. For years, it has grown and developed men who are selfless, humble, and resilient. Mullins House has been a home for everyone who spent their time within its walls and has become my home away from home. So as we celebrate the centenary of Mullins House, we also celebrate the boys it has ever so kindly welcomed.
this a common room where it was used for a dining hall?
The common room is now used to play various games and take roll call. The boys spend time here together and associate as a house.
As grade 8, we have been welcomed into Mullins easily, and they have made it very easy for us to fit in.
Mullins, often known as Mullins Republic, as distance is so vast from the school's central point that it can often identify as its own country. Legend has it that the boys have to take flights just to get to their next class. It's a place full of generosity, kindness, and a community of people who help guide the boys through their experiences and their journey through college. Welcome to the Republic. Welcome to Mullins.
Good afternoon, John. So here we are again. Well done on your little clip there about the centenary of Mullins House. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Stuart. Very kind of you. Yes, we've really enjoyed our centenary year. We only wish that we had managed to have a reunion and been able to enjoy the occasion with the generations of old Mullins boys.
But not only is Mullins turning 100 this year, but the foundation stone of the clock tower was also laid 100 years ago. And Aidan Wood will be telling us more about that later in the afternoon. So, we also have some music, some exotic languages, some speeches, farewells, and the announcement of the head of school and second head of school for you this afternoon. So do not go away.
Our focus this speech day is to celebrate and honor our teachers who, by their nature, are quite introverted and shy people. But we still managed to get them on video and share with us the places in Makhanda that are special to them.
And then, we will also enjoy a beautiful piece of descriptive writing by Oshin van Niekerk called A Grey Prelude to a Hurricane, in which he describes a journey across a fragile bridge and back again, an allegory of life, exquisitely detailed and poignant and richly textured with the ordinary.
So I guess what I like about the Toposcope is not that it's a beacon or a waypoint between Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban, but also just the surrounding area. When I come up here, I think it gets the proportions right. It's not just about the wind and the sky or the changing seasons, but when I'm up here, I feel like I'm part of something much bigger than that.
Well, fancy seeing you here.
Fancy seeing you here.
Guys, this is my favourite place.
Yeah, it's mine too. I spend every Wednesday afternoon here because Sophie has ballet.
Gosh.
And I can get some work done, and they have good coffee, and the cheesecake is amazing.
I much prefer the Milanese shortbread.
Oh, right.
Oh, just look at this.
Okay, that's good.
It's fantastic. And you know, the other thing about Noom is that it's just outside of town. and you just feel as though you are miles away.
I know, it's almost like a farm stall, isn't it? With all this interesting
Look
stuff.
at the amazing stuff. I mean, you've got a bed up on the roof, and
Yes.
I mean, honey, it's just amazing.
And all the books as well is great.
I always buy the books because then the money goes to the SPCA. Yeah, and I love the ambience here. It's just such a special place.
It is, isn't it? You always see people you know, don't you?
Nice people.
Nice people,
Nice
yes.
people, because nice people come here.
Like
This
us.
is great. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh.
I walked down the same bridge again as the wooden planks creak beneath my feet as if drawing the last breath. When I was a child, it glistened with white paint, but you can see that they have been eaten away by the waves and time. The sea air brushes my face while the fragrance of salty water fills my nose. How many times have I walked down the same bridge? Grey clouds cloak the sky, determined and unmoving. A damp coolness patiently hangs in the air, and the sounds of a crackling, the war cry of a storm in the distance slowly approaching. My skin has a warmth to it, coating my body from the piercing cold. Various faces pass by, some wrinkled and worn down from the time, some smooth and unblemished. I see bicycles with black rubber wheels pass me by. I can hear the echoing of a sales lady selling fruits branching into my thoughts. A flock of black birds pass overhead, leaving a shadow churning and blending in the sky. A stray dog walks by, panting and heaving, searching. Its eyes betray desperation, its body covered in a sandy brown and dark fur. The dog's ribs are visible, unlikely to have seen food in days. Women walk past with baskets stacked like cards, moving swiftly but with grace. Some of them have grins wide across their faces, and others have frowns, blended mirage of frustration and focus. In the distance, I can see people fishing on boats, cutting a swath through the ocean with a wooden blade. Their lines fly into the air, only to be dragged into the sea awaiting prey. On the shore, I can see ripples go as quickly as they come, leaving only froth. The wind gets more impatient, blowing like an angry god. On the horizon, a forest of trees gathers in unison, timeless and unmoving. The years tread by, dragging this bridge and its inhabitants with it, but the trees, the ocean, they're left untouched. I'm nearing the end of the bridge. It's cold, and I can feel the ocean vapor lick my face, welcoming me. A bright crimson ball, shimmering and floating in hazy water, then quickly departs into the waves. A lady walks briskly beside me with a carefully woven onyx dress and an emerald silk shirt, displaying her fortune for all to see. She may have had the same idea I had coming here. Her hand disappears into a bag she is carrying and retrieves a shining silver camera with a lens that reflects and absorbs any light into itself. The woman raises the camera to her eye and captures the red orb in her camera. A cat captures my eye without hesitation. It bounces across the pier in a black blur. It reaches out its claws, breaking free from the air, and tries to catch a bird with its bone knives. But it only gathers air, left abandoned by the bird. Suddenly, a loud bang comes overhead and a white light dances across a grey mass. Lightning and thunder. There's a smoky smell accompanying it as well. Another bright white sting comes from the sky and settles on the sea. The dog's pants mix with the slight buzz in the air. The cat is now a spiky mixture of paranoia and fear, its hairs on end. The stores are slowly folding away along with their managers. A slight raindrop touches my face. It's time to go home. I walk back the way I came, my black leather shoes on the creaking wood. The wind scrapes past my face. My ears become a flute echoing a sound. My eyes are filled with water from the harshness of the wind. I succinctly walk to my car and leave for home. The bridge still stands.
Very good afternoon, His Majesty the King, Right Reverend Bishop Ebenezer, Mr. Jacko Marie, our Chairman of Council, members of Council, staff, parents, and of course the boys of college. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien for short, was an Oxford professor, an expert in Anglo-Saxon mythology, and one of the most influential writers of the last century, best known, of course, for his Lord of the Rings trilogy. He's recognized as the father of modern fantasy. There's a scene in The Lord of the Rings when Hobbit Frodo turns to Gandalf. "I wish it need not have happened in my time," said Frodo. "And so do I," said Gandalf. "And so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." And as we review the year of 2021, we cannot do so without recognizing the challenges that we faced this year, including, of course, COVID, economic and political instability, service delivery and service delivery protest, and of course, scandal. I don't believe that out of any range of options we would have chosen for things to be this way. But here we are. 2021 has come and gone. I shan't dwell on these things, but I must acknowledge recent events, and I assure the community that we are working extremely hard to approach all that has been said and all the allegations that have been made with integrity, honesty, and courage, and to commit to a process of truth-seeking and healing. But as I've watched wave after wave of challenge confront us, I have seen such remarkable acts of compassion and courage and goodness. For stripped of the luxury of easy days, these challenging ones reveal our true selves. It is in times of difficulty that one can best gauge the mark of a man or a woman. And so I choose today to dwell on the remarkable spirit of our staff, the incredible adaptability of the Andrian spirit of our boys, all set within a broader community of support that is second to none. As Tolkien puts it, it is not our part to master all the tides of the world, but to do that which is in us for the succor of those years wherein we're set, uprooting the evil in the fields that we know, so that those who may live after may have clean earth to till. What weather shall they have is not ours to rule. The Lord of the Rings is not the only trilogy upon which I shall dwell today, for much of what we do here comes in threes. We're essentially a mind, body, and character sort of place, and engaging with teachers, parents, and boys. And it is in the oneness formed from the three that we find that true learning. And while it is a customary necessity in a speech day speech to pay tribute to staff, today I do so in a way that reflects on a contribution that is of a new quantum entirely. Our staff have worked tirelessly to create a nimble and adaptable program that can shift at any time to suit the circumstances of the day. And in times where a day is quite a long time, we certainly have been tested. Our approach throughout has been to keep the school open as much as we possibly can, recognizing that at the very heart of the Andrian experience is a very social human interaction that cannot fully be replicated online. Further, we have tried to keep as many of our programs and activities running as normally as we possibly can, recognizing that these times have had significant mental health implications and that these are best mitigated by structure, activity, and exercise. In a world where so many things have stagnated or been cancelled, our approach has been that COVID is a challenge, but never an excuse. It certainly has been a Herculean effort. I'm extremely proud of what our staff have managed to achieve, and as much as I should mention specific individuals, I must recognize the acts of them all. For as a picture is made up of a foreground and a background, but neither is fully a picture without the other, there have been too numerous an amount of small contributions in the background to mention. But that is what has enabled the foreground to form. As Aragorn puts it, deeds will not be less valiant because they are unpraised. We've lost no academic time this year, have achieved some quality fixtures in all sports, and have maintained music and cultural activities to the highest standard. And when I say staff, I think not just of academic staff, as remarkable as their contribution has been. I think too of our administrative, grounds, kitchen, and cleaning staff, for faced with enormous challenge, all have stepped forward to keep the ship afloat. We're blessed with an outstanding group of people creating wonders in this place, and we owe an enormous debt of gratitude to them. In particular this afternoon, I must mention Mr. Scott Jackson and Mrs. Carol Muirhead, whose role as the COVID police has been complex, time-consuming, and ever-changing. They've worked miracles, and together with the housemasters and house staff, have kept college not just alive, but alive and well. Mr. Kamunyu and our extraordinary sporting staff have rejigged the sporting program more times than I can remember, in a way that has kept the sporting life of the school alive and kicking. And thanks too to the indefatigable Mr. Aidan Smith, who has rewritten the academic program more times in the last 18 months than has been done in the last 18 years. But more than all of this has been the sense of team, the acts of kindness and the togetherness that has been so much part of the year. We have all been tested, but we will prevail. Tolkien writes, "The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places, but still there is much that is fair. And though in all the lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater." It is said that anywhere you accept as a frontier will be your frontier, that everyone builds his own prison and his own walls. And for the longest time, we have thought about the Eastern Cape as a place of frontiers. And it actually is, historically speaking. Frontiers, a line or a border separating two countries, or the extreme limit of settled land, bring with them notions of insularity, of separateness and conflict. And that's why it's such an incredible honor for us to have His Majesty King Sandile of the Kgagabi people as our guest today. This has been one of my true highlights of the year, a true coming together of our individual and very different histories. histories where our ancestors confronted each other across multiple frontiers in a most terrible series of wars that lasted 100 years. I've been on an incredible voyage of discovery as I have explored the Mbashi and the Khakhabe histories. The names of the Eastern Cape have come alive with significance, and I'm excited to build on the bonds that we have formed. I have a vision of a complete circle from pre-colonial times, the colonial era, to a post-colonial time where talk is not about frontiers, but of coming together, of locatedness, where more than simply living in a shared space, we're able to truly see and understand each other, and to build a new history for our beautiful province. We have been on an interesting journey indeed, and have made enormous strides under the leadership of Mr. Mantata in creating a school culture that celebrates diversity and gives every person in the Andrian spectrum an anchor point of belonging. We're working to create a school where every boy feels that sense of belonging. We've developed a strategic plan in this area and will drive a number of strategic pillars over the next 5 years. The assistance and direction that we've received from the T&D Committee of Council has been superb, and we now have quite a team working on refining and implementing our strategy. In the Fellowship of the Rings, Aragorn sums it up. He says, "This day does not belong to one man, but to all. Let us together rebuild this world so that we may share our days of peace." Part of the philosophical commitment to creating a sense of belonging and breaking down frontiers requires us to challenge our boys to be good citizens and contributing members of our community. Our community engagement is therefore not something we do, it is something that we feel. Through Round Square, the President's Award, St. Andrew's Academy, and a plethora of other projects, Ms. Lumisa Mzaza and her team have ensured that Bishop Armstrong's dream that our boys become profitable members of church and state is achieved through deeply engaging citizenship and community value. Mr. Mantata leaves us at the end of this year to return to his family in Johannesburg. We thank him for that which he has achieved in his time here, and we're excited to continue the journey that he has started. Aragorn is the central character in the Fellowship of the Ring, which is the first book in Tolkien's trilogy. Aragorn is part of the Fellowship of the Ring, which is a group of characters who set out to save the world by destroying the great ring of power. Aragorn himself is not tasked with taking the ring to destruction, but he protects and guides Frodo, the ring bearer, facing goblins and trolls and all sorts of bad things. In the midst of chaos and stress, Aragorn never loses focus. When the Fellowship of the Rings is broken up by orcs, it is Aragorn who leads Legolas and Gimli on a seemingly hopeless quest. Their quest won't necessarily change the course of events, but it is the right thing to do, and therefore they must do it. Even though Aragorn is actually a king, he never asks for special treatment and continually puts himself in harm's way, leaping into danger ahead of his team. Now, it might not be quite as fanciful as the fantasy drama version, but the role of counsel is an exacting and a demanding one. And in these difficult months, there could have been no better person and no more committed an Andrian to guide the ship than Mr. Jacob Marie as our chair. He guides a committed and talented council who are a formidable brains trust for the governance of college. Together, we have been working on a series of strategic conversations to propel college towards our 175th birthday. The strategy emerging from this document recognizes 8 important strategic pillars and builds strategies of academic excellence, sporting excellence, transformation and diversity, our partnership with DSG, sustainability, residential life, and of course our Christian character. There are many initiatives coming out of this process that will keep us moving forwards in these areas with positive momentum. For a school that is not moving forwards is not actually stationary. It is, unnoticed, moving slowly backwards. So we look forward to growing the momentum of academic excellence. We're living in an extraordinary century. Almost 6 in 10 of the nearly 8 billion of us on Earth are connected to the internet, and the next 4 billion moving onto the internet is perhaps the biggest learning opportunity in history. We have become a planet of cities. About 55% of the world's population lives in cities by the mid of this century, when there will be 10 billion of us. So we need to invent ways of making cities sustainable and workable and livable. And around mid-century, the role of artificial intelligence will be general intelligence. And that will solve some of our most vexing problems, but of course it will pose its own existential risks. And we know it will be the hottest century on record, and the last century during which there is a chance to do something about it. And so education is important. For 40 years we've been talking about the strategies of 21st century learning, and now that we're a couple of decades into it, we're designing our curriculum to incorporate all aspects of knowledge, work habits, soft skills, including digital literacy and coding, robotics, critical thinking, and problem solving. All of these things will help students lead successful careers and be thought leaders in a modern workplace that doesn't yet exist. When all is said and done, the academic program of a school remains the bread and butter issue. I was really pleased with the matric results of the class of 2020, and I believe that our A-level program and the superb results that we've achieved there is a real asset in our basket of academic options. Another exciting project that has stemmed from our strategic thinking process is our Sporting Excellence program. We recognize that sporting excellence is, in the outset, a human endeavor, and we've worked hard at assembling a sporting staff that is, in my view, second to none in the world. We already have great boys who are talented and committed with a great attitude and a sporting ethos. And so what we'll be working on to achieve in this phase is the best possible infrastructure to support all of that. We've started by installing lights around Knowling, and we've designed a similar system for Lower. We've commissioned the building of a second AstroTurf as a joint project with DSG, and there's a complete overhaul planned for Lower that includes a revamp of the change room and pavilion spaces. When planning improvements around Lower, we recognize, of course, the centrality of this place in the hearts of Andrians of all generations. And so special care is being taken to ensure that the essential feel of the place is maintained. And although much will be improved, it'll still be Lower. This has been the year that has seen the rebooting of our chapel choir under the tutelage of Mr. Black. And while it hasn't always been easy and sometimes quite impossible as government variously altered the number of people who were or were not allowed in chapel, we're working hard to grow the repertoire and the technical quality of our chapel choir. Our cultural excellence strategic conversation is about to kick off, and this will allow us to build on our already formidable cultural program to ensure that we offer a wide and enticing array of objectives that will allow every boy to find a cultural activity that he enjoys. For this is our essential trilogy, that of mind, body, and character. And what of the boys of college? Well, they can stand proud of what they've made of 2021. They've shown determination, good humor, and total commitment. They have seized every moment and lived day by day in the best way to get everything out of the journey that they possibly could. They've worked hard to give of their best, never knowing where the next turn in the journey will take them. One day in the distant future, when historians write about college, they will note how proud college was of its boys and how we considered them to be the absolute epitome of our motto of Nec Asperatorent. And so I give thanks to God that He is writing a story of great adventure in our lives and in our school. I yield to the challenges, the shadows, and even the necessary pain. I trust God to bring us home eventually, like the hobbits to the Shire, with a song to sing and a good story to tell. May God bless you.
not forget to send us a message and let us know where you're watching our live stream from. Joey Rugamalira will soon be in conversation with Mr. Mika, who is leaving college at the end of the year, to take up a position in New Zealand Ministry of Education.
We are very privileged to be able to study and learn a wide variety of languages at St. Andrews College and DSG. Language creates meaning and is central to one's identity, especially in a country like South Africa, where language is a symbol of our diversity and culture.
We will be showing you some exotic languages like Mandarin and Spanish later on. But following the conversation with Mr. Mika, Lamlani Yawa, in this courageous and important piece of writing in isiXhosa, explores the importance of taking care of one's mental health.
What are your highlights from your time at college?
What are my highlights here at college? I think one of the memories I really would cherish is just one of the services that you go to in grade 8. And so I think it's a new boy service where you really have an opportunity to see the boys arriving for the first time, and this moment when the piper comes down the aisle and he pipes really loudly and beautifully, and there's lots of crying and everyone's really emotional about it, but it's such a beginning moment and such a wonderful start to your college career, and that's quite a privilege to be part of one of those ceremonies. It's very nice.
What exactly do you miss about college?
I think I've had some really good conversations over the years here, and I think I'll miss having those encounters and conversations with the boys and sometimes girls, which is I think we often find each other in our conversations and figuring out whether we can learn from most of the situations that we find ourselves in. So I think I'll miss those encounters.
What do you hope to achieve when you go to New Zealand?
I'm going to be doing some work that makes a difference, which is really exciting. So I think one of the things about being in a teaching environment now is that you make a difference and you contributing to kind of the future and helping mold and kind of helping people to thrive. So my new work is going to be along the similar lines, not in the classroom, but out of the classroom, and doing some national work for the Ministry of Education and making sure that our outcomes are kind of aligning and our interventions are working like we want them to work. Yeah.
Will you miss Grahamstone's climate?
I definitely miss those warm days and those really hot days. I think in February it gets to like 40. So I quite enjoy those really hot days. So I'm going to miss that. I think we are looking at where we're living. It's going to be really windy and wet. So I'm looking forward to it. I think our little kids will enjoy it. So we're going to get our gumboots on and splash in the mud and make sure we make lots of puddles and jump in lots of puddles. I think that's going to be really cool. So we're looking forward to that actually quite a lot.
What made you focus your career on IT specifically?
I think when I was studying, I studied extensively things like computer science and information systems. So I really had a passion for technology already. I enjoy my field. I'm really passionate about it. And hence, that's why I'm in it. And a lot of it will come out from my passion, So that's why I've, put my hand up for it. I lend my strength to that.
Ewe, ndiyavuma ngeli xesha sikulo izinto ezifana nobuhlanga nemvukelelo ze-community ye-LGBTQI zingxaki ezinkulu kweli xesha siphila kulo. Kodwa ngamanye amaxesha zikhona izinto esingathethi ngazo. Le ingxaki engahoywa kakhulu. Ingxaki esingayihoyanga njengabazali, njengotitshala, nangabantwana bezikolo. Namhlanje ndifuna ukuthetha ngayo lo ngxaki. Kwaye ndandicela nindiboleke indlebe zenu ngoba lo mba ndifuna uthetha ngawo ubalekile. Molweni nonke. Namhlanje ndiza kuthetha ngendaba ye-mental health. I-mental health ibandakanya ukuhlala kakuhle nemvakalelo, ezomzimba nezokuhlalisana. I-mental health ichaphaza indlela esicinga ngayo, indlela esiziva ngayo, kwaye nezenzo zethu. Iyanceda ukumiselana indlela esiphatha ngayo i-stress. Ingxaki ezimbalwa ze-mental health ziquka i-anxiety, i-bipolar affective disorder, i-depression, eating disorders ne-panic disorders. Zonke ezi ngxaki asikho kude esikolweni sethu. Sonke siyakwazi kuba neengxaki ze-mental health. Ukuqala kwabantwana baka-grade 8 ukuya kootitshala bethu, ezi ngxaki azinabantu bazo. Abantwana abadlala ezemidlalo kwizinga eliphezulu bayakwazi ukuchaphazeleka zezi ngxaki. Nabo beme kwithanelo kwaye unexhala, intliziyo ibetha ngokukhawuleza, uphefumlela phezulu, wapila umfana eseza kungena ebaleni ukuyodibana ne-Grey High. Abadlali bethu be-first team yombhoxo bayakwazi ukuba ne-anxiety. Usebenze nzima ubusuku nemini ukufundela le test. I-Maths Center bilikhaya lakho lesibini kwaye uqinisekile ukuba usemagqabini. Ifike imark yakho kwaye you're not pleased. Iveki yakho ihambe, umphefumlo wakho uphantsi, ulahlekelwa ngumdla kwaye awusathethi nabantu ngolo hlobo luqhelelekileyo. Le mvakalelo ayifani nokuba sad, i-depression. Le nto ingafunyanwa nazii-top academics ethu. Emva kwetest ungahambanga ngolu hlobo bebefuna ihambe ngayo. Ndingaqhubeka ndithethe imini yonke, kodwa ngoku ndibawela ukunika ingcebiso. Ndiyayazi ukuba andiyiyo i-psychologist, kodwa ibalulekile le nto ndifuna ukuthetha ngayo, ngoba iyakwazi uba ngumntana, ngumfundi, okanye itshomi yakho. Botitshala, xa umfundi engangenisanga i-homework eqhele ukuyihendina, masizibuzeni ukuba kwenzeka ntoni empilweni yakhe. Masizijongeni izinto esizithethayo kwabafundi, ngoba ziyabachaphaza. Xa umntwana etsala nzima, ngamanye amaxesha iyanceda to listen to ii-problems zabo. Mhlawumbi ufuna ukuhlisa i-weight of their shoulders ngokuthetha nawe. Nani bazali, masenze ngokunjalo. Umntwana xa efumana i-bad mark ayisebenzeleyo kakhulu, okanye engayenzanga i-first team kodwa usebenze nzima, masingabi nzima kubantwana. Ngamanye amaxesha izinto zithatha ixesha elide ukufika kwiingxaki ze-mental health. So masibe attentive xa zisenzeka ezi zinto, ngoba abantwana bayazigcina izinto ezintliziyweni. Bafundi, ndiqhubelisa ngani ngoba ni-important kakhulu ekuncedeni ukulungisa ezi ngxaki ze-mental health. Xa iitshomi zethu zingaphatheki kakuhle, try and talk to them, okanye talk to your housemaster akwazi ukuncedisa ngesi simo. Let's listen to iitshomi zethu xa zibhodla iingxaki zabo, ngoba ngamanye amaxesha unganceda before umntu enze into emasikizi. Ukugqibelisa, ndicela nonke kwabamameleyo bathathe inyathelo benze ngolu hlobo bendithetha ngalo. Kwaye ningalibali, before i-first team players, ii-academics nee-teachers zibe ngezi zinto bazizo, bazi-human beings kuqala. Baza kumamela ukuba uyile ukuyothetha nabo. Enkosi.
And we're going to come to the first session of prize winners now. And so the grade 8 to 11 prizes, we will be awarding them now. So grade prizes in grade 8 are awarded to the boys who have achieved the highest average aggregates in the term, and the GBS Mutual Bank grade prize is awarded to Alistair de Kock. Alistair de Kock comes from us from Waterkloof House Prep School in Pretoria. I think we can applaud. And then grade prizes to Ndala Techana from Redford House. And a grade prize to Daniel Meerhazen from St Andrews Prep. And Asante Shavira also gets a grade prize from Waterkloof House Prep School in Pretoria. And the last in grade 8, Samuel Schechter from East Selborne Primary. And then the grade 9s, the GBS Mutual Bank grade prize from Aidan Wood from Wetpups. And grade prizes to Murray Wilson from St Peter's Prep. Andy Holmes from St David's Marist. Julius Rocher from St Andrews Prep. And Chukwu Ekbech from Transkei Primary School in Mthatha. And then grade 10 prizes, the GBS Mutual Bank grade prize and the prize for English, St John Cause. The grade prize and prizes for accounting, information technology and physical science, Matthew Poole. A grade prize and prize for Afrikaans first additional language, Matthew Gous. Grade prize and prizes for life science and mathematics to Michael Molkachi. A grade prize and prize for business studies, Max Coventry. And a grade prize to Nsika Mduba. The Computer Application Technology Prize, Timothy Suba. Design Prize, Ayamkele Dongwana. Dramatic Arts and History Prize to Luc Frymont. The French First Additional Language, Noah D'Amato. Geography Prize, Charlie Beaton. isiXhosa First Additional Language, Mumbi Kayula. Life Orientation Prize, Ganazani Tembo. Mathematical Literacy Prize, Nicholas Plumbridge. Music Prize, Christopher Pretorius. And then the Visual Arts Prize, Mark Temorshausen.
Then on to the grade 11 prizes, the GBS Mutual Bank Grade Prize and prizes for Advanced Program English, Music and Physical Science, Aidan Reynolds. Grade Prize and prize for Accountancy and Geography, Nicholas Lane. Grade Prize and prize for History, Ben Terry. A grade prize and the prizes for IGCSE Afrikaans, as well as the AS level prize for Biology, Chemistry, English Language and Literature, Mathematics and Physics, Ethan John. The grade prize and prize for Dramatic Arts, English and isiXhosa First Additional Language, Lamlani Yawa. Grade prize and prize for Accountancy, Advanced Program Mathematics, Dylan Herleen. Afrikaans Home Language, Leah McNaughton. Afrikaans First Additional Language, Joss Hempel. Business Studies, Connor Cook. Prizes for AS Level Chemistry and IGCSE French, Ishan Panchal. The Design Prize, Eirik Torp Nalani. IGCSE German Prize, Oliver Langer. And the AS Level History Prize, Ayamidaji Israel Akinbo. Information Technology Prize, Anthony Baker. The isiXhosa First Additional Language, Zanandi Samani. IGCSE isiZulu, Simpiwe Ncube. Life Orientation Prize, Adam Burton. And lastly, the Visual Arts Prize, James Cohen. Owen. We will be awarding the grade 12 and open prizes later, and we'll enjoy James Barrow playing the xylophone now.
你们好，我叫 Aiden。Uzi 是我的好朋友。我的老师，我是汉语。Uzi 的老师，Uzi 的干老师，Uzi 是汉语。谢谢，再见。
Olá, boa tarde. Chamo-me Mary Wilson e estudo a língua portuguesa porque espero conseguir uma residência europeia. Assim vai ser mais fácil para eu estudar dia em Portugal. É interessante aprender uma língua tão diferente. Obrigado.
Morning, morning. How are you? All good, all good, all good. Some cappuccino time and an Americano.
Yes.
The usual.
We are, as members of the English department, at Caesar's coffee shop because Caesar makes the best coffee in Grahamstown.
Cheers.
Cheers to Caesar's.
The Makanda Park Run takes place in beautiful surroundings, but more importantly for me, it is a weekly reminder of the community that I am a part of, and for that reason it is one of my favorite events.
Hi, I'm Annelie Hendricks and I'm standing in front of the South African Library for the Blind with its unique signage of Braille on the outside. This library was founded 102 years ago by Josie Woods. She was a local resident. It has since become a national library. This unique library produces Braille and audio reading material for blind and visually impaired people. It has touched the lives of thousands of people throughout South Africa, and that's why this place is special to me. It's truly a library to be proud of.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Cameron. How are you doing?
Very well, and yourself. So as we know, you're leaving St Andrews this year. And so my first question for you is, did you always want to become a teacher?
Not really, but when I finished doing my national service, the only way to get to university was to get a bursary from the Cape Education Department. And then you had to teach for 4 years to pay back the bursary. I thought it would be a good idea. I'd go and teach for 4 years and then get a proper job. But 39 years later, I'm still here, and I hope I've made a proper job of it.
Do you have any regrets about becoming a teacher?
Not really. It's been a very interesting ride. You meet such interesting people, so I've never been bored as a teacher. And I think a lot of people go into life, get a job, and get horribly bored. I've had a fascinating time in the classroom.
Do you have any special highlights of college or any special classes to talk about?
I will never forget one of my classes. It was a class of just boys, They weren't necessarily the best at English, but they decided they were going to get a word into the college slang dictionary. And so I don't know if any of the boys out there are still aware of the word quench. They invented the word quench. They kept using it until it became regular slang use. I must thank boys like Zuko Krezengana and Licheli Tini and Pello Malindi. They were a lot of fun to teach, and they can say they added something to college vocabulary.
So during your time here at college, what's the biggest change that you as a teacher and college as a school has undergone?
I'm going to answer that question slightly differently, but I started teaching in 1983. There wasn't a single computer in any school in South Africa, and schooling in those days was divided along racial lines. If I look at college now, we've got a wonderful community of people from all over South Africa, and I don't think we look at the positives of what we've achieved. I think the school has adapted to change exceptionally well. The closest I got to a device when I started teaching was a pocket calculator. Now every pupil at St Andrews College has an iPad or a laptop, and that has been a great development in education. So educational change over the last 39 years has been phenomenal, and I think St Andrews College in particular has grown during this.
So I think most of your current and past pupils will agree that your classroom is quite a strange yet exciting learning environment, with photos on the wall, postcards from everywhere. Can you explain this for us?
Well, I spend so much time in my classroom. I think it's important that it's a welcoming environment. I like colour, I like design. It's interesting that both my sons have gone into the design field. And I like having a quirky classroom. I think it's important that you should have sunflowers hanging from your data projector. I've got postcards all around my classroom that are almost like time capsules, because pupils have sent me postcards from around the world whenever they've travelled. It does make my classroom a welcoming environment.
And what does the future hold for you?
I'm not leaving education completely. I'll be teaching part-time at the Port Elizabeth Montessori School next year, and also teaching AP English at Theodore Herzl. So I will be kept busy, but not as busy as I've been the last few years here.
Welkom, dis David hier by Punctuasie radiostasie. As jy op soek na 'n prettige bombastiese skryfteken? Wel, ek het die perfekte skryfteken net vir jou. Dis maklik om te skryf, net 'n reguit lyn en 'n punt, lekker om te spreek, en jy kan dit gebruik in 'n sin om jou vriende groot te laat skrik. Dit is ook van groot hulp wanneer jy in gevaar is. Julle het reg geraai, mense. Dit is die uitroepteken. Dit is nou beskikbaar teen R2.50 elk by jou naaste skryftekenwinkel. Bepalings en voorwaardes geld.
While the pandemic has had a catastrophic impact on the lives of so many South Africans, it has been even more critical that our community engagement at college has remained active in its commitment to building relationships within our community. Whether it be the weekly trips to Ikaelo Sizwe, or the Monday clubs for grade 10s, or the many Interact Club projects, we have carried on.
Mr. Mzaza and the leaders of the Community Engagement and Interact Club will now share some of their projects, after which Mr. Jacob Marie, the Chairman of Council, will address us.
Community engagement is the main pillar of service for St. Andrews College. It is also the umbrella for Interact Club, Round Square, and President's Award.
From grade 10, you start doing clubs, so you'll start going out into the community and working there. We also run school projects, so you'll go out and help people, you'll go to orphanages or soup kitchens, and then we do a lot of fundraising. So 24 for Smiley is a fundraiser, and in the houses we'll run like Wacky Wednesdays, so we can take those funds and put them back into the community.
My highlight has to be the house projects that we do termly, where we will engage with community. Like one of the common ones is Tiger Titans, and we will teach. We'll do either swimming lessons or computer lessons, and then afterwards we'll have a fun braai, and that day is very special.
My message to the boys who haven't joined community engagement is start now. Service it's a part of life, it's a part of knowing others, and I think following in the steps of Ubuntu is to build others. You need to be able to provide the service, especially when we have the privilege to provide that service.
Please stay tuned as we take you along to two of our long-standing partners in Makanda community.
So, Kaelo Sizo Children's Home is one of our long-standing partners in Grahamstown, obviously working closely with child welfare, and it's been an amazing experience for our boys to just have that opportunity to come and engage with the kids on Mondays and sometimes Fridays. It's really that moment where they always look forward to coming to Kaelo Sizo, and just I have pictures of them sitting on the swings, and it's just amazing. It's a really nice experience to just have that opportunity to engage with the kids.
Yeah, and also from our side at Kaelo Sizo Home, the children is different ages, as you guys know, but they always look forward for St. Andrew's College and all the other schools that also interact with them. They have so much excitement when it's specifically on reading days, and the boys really is helpful because you can see a change in their reports in terms like they sit with them and they literally go through the books. It's not like they just to play and stuff like that. And for us as house mothers, we honestly appreciate that. For any child, it's such a special day on their birthday, and also to know that there's somebody out there that really cares means the world to them. I always say people that give them stuff, for them it's something small, but for these children it means the world, because not all of them has got that support.
It's quite the thing for us as well, because I always emphasize with the boys that it is not the money or anything that you would give, but the most important thing that you can give someone is your time and love. Yes. So it's really important for us that we actually have this relationship that we
and you guys are really doing a great job.
So how was your experience in Grahamstown, particularly the relationship with the Lupolwen?
It's been special because you learn so much through spending time with the wider community. Like especially from St. Andrews, where it's a boarding school, you often get stuck like within the school, and coming out here and spending time with people, it's creating the relationships and that partnerships, which is special, and through that spending time on the Friday afternoons, it's a special bond. And that's, I think, what community engagement is all about. It's about giving your time and engaging with the wider community.
Hallo, mein Name ist Clemens Holzhausen. Ich kam in 2018 nach St. Andrews und bin in die 9. Schulstufe gekommen. St. Andrews hat mir das beste Erlebnis überhaupt gegeben, und wenn ich zurück in die Zeit reisen könnte, würde ich es niemals ändern. Danke.
Hola a todos. Hoy es día de discurso. Español es un día más de amor. Estoy feliz y tengo mucha alegría este día. Con mucho cariño deseo a todos. Feliz día de discurso.
Whistling, a chatter of fairies in the trees. A lantern, accompanied by a stable and her inmates. Again, a whistle. The night's cast of ancient dancers, a parade for the eyes, a shadow by my feet. Dry husk into crooked oak. The old place passed by, no return for weathered ash deep within the hardened trunk. Cold now, the door to the attic, a hidden fog choking of dust and death, but warm, cozy to my suit of skin. I forgot how the light crept away so quickly in my father's room. There I waited my time, a brief thought in the candle glow.
Good afternoon, Bishop Ebenezer Ntlali, King Sandile, ladies and gentlemen and boys. And I'm sorry that I'm not physically with you this afternoon. But good afternoon to all of you and also the wider Andrian community who are watching this magnificent online speech day. I'd like to start by addressing the ongoing News 24 expose about Thomas Kruger's tragic death, David Mackenzie's behavior as a teacher and subsequent departure from college, and incidents of lashing and fighting. Most of us probably feel that the drip feeding of sensational information and opinions and the style of reporting is unfair, and that the portrayal of St. Andrews College certainly does not reflect our lived experience of the school. We have tried to be professional in our response. We've been transparent and answered many questions in what feels like a trial by media. As painful and as difficult as it has been to see the school's good name being attacked, the harsh reality is that the reporting does expose certain incidents which have no place in our school. I would like to believe that these are isolated and not widespread occurrences. However, we cannot draw conclusions until Council has conducted a full review of all the evidence and allegations. Council will ensure that the review is thorough. Any current or former pupil, current or former parent, or staff member will be given the opportunity to bring any matter of serious concern to Council's attention in the confidence that their identity will be protected. Following the review, Council will also consider amendments and additions to the school's policies and management practices. Personally, I believe that we have to find better ways to ensure that boys and parents are prepared to speak out when they experience inappropriate behavior or incidents. We have to eliminate the fear of being labeled a snitch. The school has over many years demonstrated that it will act when wrongdoing is exposed and evidenced. Equally importantly, we have to build our support structures and the programs which help boys to differentiate clearly between right and wrong and between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. These include any so-called traditions which don't have a place in today's world. Having started on that negative note, we all know that St. Andrews is a truly remarkable institution which excels on many fronts. In the overwhelming majority of cases, boys leave college very well prepared for the world that awaits them, not only academically and culturally, but also in terms of interpersonal and life skills. Much of this is due to the fact that we are a boarding school, and where the school day does not end in the middle of the afternoon, and even for our day boys, education, activities, and development carry on well into the evening. As I've often said, our job as the council is to ensure the long-term sustainability of the school for future generations. Of course, we have to worry about current issues and events, but the main objective is to maintain and build a truly relevant institution as our society, our country, our continent, and the world changes. If we don't grow and adapt to changing times, we run the real risk of losing our relevance, reputation, and position in society, which has been built up over 165 odd years. As I said last year, historical and current racism, whether covert, overt, implicit, or institutional, is totally unacceptable, and Alan Thompson has mentioned that in his speech. Global events of 2020 highlighted the need for St. Andrews to confront racism specifically but also to address the notions of belonging and inclusion more generally. The Transformation and Diversity Committee of Council, on which OAs are also represented, is working well and maturing as it covers a broader range of relevant topics. We aim to build an embracing and nurturing environment in which all boys and the girls from DSG who are part of our broader family and share our campus can feel welcome and comfortable, irrespective of their differences and backgrounds. The financial viability of college and prep, which is our most important feeder school, will always be a matter of critical importance for our long-term sustainability. Our offering is comprehensive, enabling boys to pursue so many different academic, sporting, and cultural interests. But this all comes at substantial cost. There's very little further scope to cut costs without damaging the standard and breadth of our offering. To repeat again what I've said before, we are not a wealthy school, as many people assume. We do have investments as a result of many years of bequests, donations, and campaigns, such as at the time of our 150th anniversary. The income from those investments fund scholarships, bursaries, and the ongoing maintenance of our historic infrastructure. And there is no surplus to be accessed, except perhaps in the case of an extreme emergency. Last year, I said that we were not planning any significant projects. However, during the year, as it became clear that COVID would be with us on a longer-term basis, and because of the restrictions on inter-school sport, Council decided to nevertheless push ahead with the Knowling Lighting project, which provided more and different opportunities for exercise and sport in the evening, and it's proved to be a great addition. As the pandemic evolves from here and things slowly start returning to some kind of new normality, we again need to think ahead and plan strategically for the school's future. We're no longer in survival mode. After the massive academic excellence project of recent years, our academic facilities are of a very high standard. We also have a budgeted annual rotational plan to maintain and improve all our boarding facilities. So as Alan Thompson said, our next important initiative is to improve our sporting infrastructure. The most urgent project is a joint one with DSG to construct a second Astro on Hodgson Field. We will also be launching a campaign called Sporting Excellence, which will initially focus on upgrading various aspects around Lower Field. Our overall financial position is delicately balanced, as I've said, and so these projects will require fundraising, although fortunately not at the scale of our academics excellence project of some years ago. None of the wonderful achievements which have been showcased today and none of our strategic plans for the future would be possible without the incredible dedication and commitment of our loyal staff members under the leadership of Headmaster Alan Thompson. For many of our staff members, their jobs changed and their workloads increased dramatically under COVID. They truly go the extra mile, often in the most difficult circumstances. I congratulate them and we owe them a huge vote of thanks. I'd like to acknowledge and thank our council members for their invaluable contributions and voluntary service to our school. Tandem Kosi, a seasoned private sector HR executive and new member of council, has taken over from Gail Jelly as chairman of the Human Resources Committee of Council. We also welcome Zico Thomas and Judge Tami Beshe as new members of council, together with Dean Mzi Dianti, who replaced Dean Andrew Hunter as the bishop's representative on council after 13 years of loyal service. I'm pleased to also report that there's been a seamless handover of the finance function to Simon White, who has taken over from Simon Ridley as honorary treasurer on council. And together with Carol Muirhead, we are fortunate to have a very strong team looking after our finances. And I'd also particularly like to mention Niels Jonas, who continues and has done so for many years to chair the Buildings and Grounds Committee so effectively. I'm sure we all agree for those of you that visit the campus from time to time, that it is beautiful, it's a blend of old and new, it's magnificent, and it's always well maintained. Bryn Brody continues to play a critical role on council, guiding us on legal matters, and is always available at the shortest of notice when the school or council need sound advice. Speaking to the boys, I would only say that you are so privileged to be experiencing a world-class all-round education. I'm not sure what the exact correct decimal is, but you are probably in the top 0.001% of the world's population in terms of the quality of the education that you are receiving. The 5 years from grade 8 to 12 may seem like an eternity, but remember that you only have a total of around 1,250 days in your college career. You should never forget that and make the most of each day in terms of all the opportunities that St. Andrews offers you. The difficult economic conditions of recent years have made schools like ours unaffordable for many parents and would previously have considered St. Andrews for their boys' education. So to you, our parents, I would like to thank you for staying the course in these extremely difficult times, because without you and your ongoing commitment and sacrifices, college would also not be able to survive and thrive. I now look forward to the rest of the day's proceedings. Thank you.
A day once dawned, and it was beautiful. A day once dawned from the ground. Then the night she fell, the air was beautiful. The night she fell all around. So let's see the days, the endless colored ways. Oh, go and play the game that you learned from the morning. Now we rise, and we are everywhere. And now we rise from the ground. And see she what you learn from the morning.
"100 years ago, St Andrews College was reeling from the loss of 125 old Andrians from the First World War, which was followed by the so-called Spanish flu pandemic that infected 1/3 of the world's population and killed anywhere between 25 to 50 million people, mostly between the age of 20 to 40 years. It was a highly distressing time that in the context we can identify with as we go through this coronavirus pandemic. The headmaster, Canon Kettlewell, and the college council felt the need to memorialize these old boys and the loss by building this iconic landmark in Makanda. It was not an easy task to bring to completion because of the economic difficulties of the time. And it took 2 years for the clock tower with its distinctive chime bells to be completed after the foundation stone had been laid. When the new boys of Upper House arrive at college each year, they don't get much sleep because the bell in the clock tower chimes every 15 minutes. But they get used to it. And when the bell breaks down, as it does periodically, the Upper boys can't sleep because they miss it. And so, the OAs who died in the First World War were memorialized here. But this is a living memorial, and every year the college community stands around the clock tower to remember and acknowledge the lives of those old Andrians who have died in the course of the previous year. When this memorial was unveiled by General Sir Henry Lucan, he addressed the boys and staff with these words that are still relevant to this day. He said, "You may not be called upon to die for your country, but you can live for it. Live for those ideals of honor, loyalty, obedience to duty, and that priceless gift of freedom and justice for which so many of your predecessors have given their lives."
We're very pleased to award the Grade 12 prizes now. The GBS Mutual Bank Prize, prizes for A-Level Chemistry, A-Level Physics, the Shared A-Level Mathematics, Arthur Matthews Prize, James Stadler. And the Grade Prize and the Shared Prize for the A-Level Mathematics, the Arthur Matthews Prize, Tyrone Rosenberg. A Grade Prize and prizes for Geography and Mathematics, that's the G.W. Lucas Prize, Nicholas Holmes. A Grade Prize to Dominic Owen. A Grade Prize and the prizes for Advanced Program Mathematics and Physical Science, the Great Head Prize to Miles Jackson. The Accounting Prize and Prize for Life Orientation, William Stewart. Afrikaans First Additional Language, Aaron Hepburn. Business Studies Prize, Jake Boateng Adu. The A-Level Biology Prize, Alexei Bollinger. Computer Application Technology Prize, Max Gifford. The Design Prize, Callum Stokes. Dramatic Arts Prize, John Tosido. The English Home Language and Advanced Program English and Music Prize, Stuart Christie. The A-Level English Language Prize, Cameron Holmes. The French First Additional Language Prize, Neil Karimba. German Prize, Clemens Holzhausen. History Prize, Benjamin Fleming. The A-Level History Prize, Blaine Price. Information Technology, Jacob Erasmus. The isiXhosa First Additional Language Prize, Libongo Mazwana. Mathematical Literacy, Jake Tatham. And the Visual Arts Prize, Daniel Bradfield. Will all the boys for the general and open prizes please stand? These are the general and open prizes. The Music Choir Prize is shared between Dean van Heerden and Ayomide Israel Akinbo. The Music Prize for piano, Stuart Christie. The Music Instrumental Prize, Aaron Hepburn. The Junior Art Prize, James Barrow. And the Best Senior Artwork, Daniel Bradfield. The Anthony Clark plates for high academic achievers and the most impressive all-rounders from grade 8 to 11. In grade 8, Anthony Clark plate, James Ponting. In grade 9, Aidan Wood. Grade 10, St. John Cause. And grade 11, Ethan John. The Roland Craig Music Award goes to Aaron Hepburn. The Mevrou Anne Jacobs Mathematician of the Year Prize, James Stadler. The Mathematics Progress Award, Blaine Price. The Anderson History Essay Prize, Benjamin Fleming. Pell Edmonds English Essay Prize, Daniel Bradfield. The Coupland English Literature Prize, Nicholas Holmes. And sharing that prize also Jacob Erasmus. The Webb English Essay Prize for AP English, Aidan Reynolds. The Lightfoot English Prize for Debating, the senior prize goes to Scott Ritchie. And the junior prize to Aidan Wood. The Dr. G.H.M. Bobbins Poetry Prize, Senior, Stuart Christie. The Preparatory School English Narrative Prize, Ocean van Niekerk. The Theodore Cornish Prize for Classics, Alexander Calder. And the Haka Ivuma French Essay Prize, Neil Karimbo. The Louis Botha Afrikaans Essay Prize for Home Language, David Ball. And First Additional Language, Dominic Owen. And then the Redenaars Competitie winners for the Senior Home Language, the Colonel A.F. Murray Memorial Prize for Spoken Afrikaans for Senior Home Language, and the Bilingualism Prize for English and Afrikaans, Liam McNaughton. The Redenaars Competitie winners for the First Additional Language, the senior winner is Joss Hempel. And the junior winner, Dita Setskon. The Colonel A.F. Murray Memorial Prize for Spoken Afrikaans for First Additional Language, senior winner, Yuri Novel. And the junior winner, Julius Rocher. The prize for spoken is isiXhosa for home language, Likona Rolashi. And First Additional Language, Luke Dankwitz. The John Hewitt Prize for Life Sciences, Aaron Hepburn. And then the T.C. White Natural History Prize for the Best A-Level Science Students in Grade 12, James Stadler. And the Best AS Level Science Student in Grade 11, that's Ethan John. The J.O. Clogg Memorial Cup for Design is Tom Klukas. And the Michael Reynolds Memorial Prize for Design, Jeffrey Carl. The N. Steele Gray Undle Creative Design Prize goes to Carl Thomas. And the Dennis John Claude Creative Design Prize, Jack McLeod. The Anne Green Plate for Speakers and the Anne Green Trophy for Acting, Aaron Hepburn. And the John Dermot Lardner Burke Memorial Prize for Current Affairs, the senior recipient, Jacob Erasmus. And the Wyndham Lardner Burke Memorial Prize for Current Affairs, the junior recipient, Matthew Lads. Then we come to the last couple of awards. The P.B. Norton Prizes are awarded to House Prefects who've led by example, succeeded academically, and made an appreciable extramural contribution. And the P.B. Norton Prizes this year go to Luke Dankwitz. Ayamide Israel Kinbo. Nicholas Holmes. Stuart Christie. And Luke Barker. Then the Gauteng Parent Group Award prizes, they go to a junior boy and a senior boy who are not receiving another prize today and who have given of their best in the classroom, in the sports field and extramural activities. And the senior Gauteng Parent Group Award this year goes to Ntsikan Gawana. And the junior award to Nicholas Swart. Prize for perseverance awarded to a boy who's been most impressive in carrying on and not giving up in the face of difficult challenges, and Richard Dorrington gets an award this year. The Canon Hugh Harker Community Service Award is awarded to the boy who's made the most significant service contribution to the wider community, and this year it's awarded to Jacob Erasmus. And the Delport Cup is awarded to a top academic who has consistently achieved academic honours throughout his school career, from grade 8 to grade 12, and who has excelled in 2 or more first-team sports. And most deservedly, Dylan Marks receives it this year. And then the premier individual award for the prize giving is the Old Mutual Cup, and this prestigious award is made to the grade 12 boys, not a college prefect, but can be a house or school portfolio prefect, who has made the most marked contribution to college in many spheres: academic work, societies, culture, and sport, and that's Jacob Erasmus this year. Well done. And then the last 3 are house awards that are made at Speech Day. And the Mitford Barberton Inter-House Art Trophy is won, yet again, by Graham House and received by Daniel Bradfield. And the Templeton Inter-House Work Trophy is won again this year by Graham House, received by Head of House Jonathan Rosenthal. Well done. And then the last award for today, the Interhouse Cup. And despite there being not as many interhouse events as we would have liked this year, it's been an interesting competition. And while Merriman and Upper and Armstrong sort of are languishing in the bottom half of the league, Espen has done quite well. And it was honestly between the hundredths of a point between Mullins and Graham. And Graham, your dames are numbered, but Graham just clinched it again this year. Well done to Graham House for the Interhouse Trophy. Jonathan? Yeah. That concludes the prize giving for today.
À tous mes amis et les élèves de Saint-Andrew, je vous dédie ce texte sur la vie de Nelson Mandela. Le héros sud-africain Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela était une inspiration pour les Sud-Africains dans son rôle important de l'établissement de la démocratie en Afrique du Sud. Madiba arrêté et envoyé en prison pour trahison et terrorisme le 5 août 1964. Ce n'est qu'en 1990 que Madiba fut libéré de Robben Island, 27 ans après son emprisonnement. 4 ans plus tard, il est élu président de la République d'Afrique du Sud. Sa présidence se poursuit jusqu'en 1999. C'est alors qu'il décidait de se retirer de la scène politique pour créer la Fondation Nelson, qui est une organisation à but non lucratif pour améliorer les conditions de vie des populations défavorisés du pays. Nelson était une personne déterminée, pourvue d'une vision diligente et disposée de promouvoir une nation juste et unie, basée sur un message de réconciliation et d'égalité pour toute la nation, et ceci à travers des valeurs sociales, morales et humaines. La raison pour laquelle j'ai parlé de la vie de Nelson Mandela aujourd'hui, c'est parce que sa vie nous rappellera toujours le courage et le sacrifice pour la dignité et l'humanité. S'il y a des rêves d'une belle République d'Afrique du Sud, il y a aussi des chemins qui mènent à cet objectif. Deux de ces chemins pourraient être nommés compassion et réconciliation. Je rêve d'une Afrique en paix avec elle-même. Cette citation de Nelson est un rappel important, non pas adressé aux Africains uniquement, mais au monde entier, qui devrait non seulement vivre en harmonie, mais également promouvoir le paix sur tout son territoire.
So this is the Nelm Garden, and like so many places in Grahamstown, it's got lots of special memories for me. It's a little piece of indigenous bush in the middle of town where we can run and ride bikes, and my children run around as tiny people. And especially after the rain, the smells that come from these indigenous bushes are absolutely amazing.
This is one of my favorite places on earth, up here on Topper Mountain Drive. Come up here on my bike. If you look out that way, you see all the way, you see almost the whole town. And if you look out this way, you just see natural beauty for as far as the eye can see. People find God all over the place, but when I'm up here, I really feel like I'm in nature's own cathedral. It's the most beautiful place. It doesn't matter what sort of day you've had in the office. When you get up here in the mountain, it's like therapy.
I'd just like to thank His Majesty for gracing us with His presence, and would ask if you would kindly accept this gift as a sign of our gratitude and appreciation. Would like to ask His Majesty to come and say a few words.
Mphathi Nkqubo kulo msebenzi unesihomo nesithozela wokuwonga abantwana abaphumeleleyo emagqabini ngomsebenzi omhle abawenzileyo wangcwaliswa wanikwa intsikelelo yikumkani yesisizwe ukumkani uVululwandle Sandile. Xa ndizawuqala ndizawucela amadoda onke ame ngenyawo sikhahlele ikumkani. Avulwandle, 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 singahlala. Mhlawumbi ke ndawuba ndiqaphele isoko mandisebenzise olulwimi loqhina kaqhonono mayizale inkomo sitye isigqoko ukuze wonke olapha akwazi ukuva okokuba uthini na umyalezo wekumkani. Program Director, His Majesty the King, King Vululwandle Sandile of the Gagabe Kingdom, members of the royalty, Bishop of Grahamstown Diocese, Bishop Ntlali, Reverend Metu, representing Archbishop Ngesi of the Ethiopian Episcopal Church, a church that is a spiritual institution to His Majesty the King. The Chairman of Council, Mr. Murray, Headmaster of this college, Mr. Thompson, members of council, educators and students, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it is a great honor for His Majesty to be invited at a time when this college, among other things, celebrates academic excellence. When educators assume their positions, one of the important principles that guide them is a principle called in loco parentis, which means whatever you do, you assume the place of the parent. And therefore, your responsibility, if we are to use what humanists normally refer to as tabula rasa, which means man is born a blank slate. It simply means you are now sowing a seed. And when you sow a seed, you don't sow and harvest at the same time. You sow allow the seed to germinate up to a point where it produces the fruits which are then harvested. And today marks that moment where academic excellence is celebrated, which is the outcomes of that which was sown. And therefore, as I represent His Majesty the King in this auspicious occasion, I hasten to say, today marks an important milestone in the history of the Kgakgabe Kingdom, particularly the Royal House of Sandile, who is the great house of King Ncika. It is historical precisely because 172 years ago, in 1849, His Majesty's great-great-grandfather, King Sandile I, was incarcerated in this town of Grahamstown, which was established in 1812, named after Colonel John Graham. Thus, the colonial past of adversarial antagonism is now superseded by the human spirit of reconciliation and human solidarity. When Mr. Thompson visited the palace at Mngesha on Thursday, 9th September, a very important day in the history of the Kgakgabe Kingdom, for it was the day which marked the final demise of one of the greatest legends in the history of the guerrilla warfare, Nkosi Jongumsobomvu Maqoma, who was incarcerated twice in Robben Island and finally died in Robben Island on the 9th of September, 1873. And therefore, if we look into the attitude and the posture of the entire Royal Council when we received the invitation as directed by His Majesty, that invitation was accepted in unison without any tinge of hesitation. For St. Andrews, among other things, is and remains the alma mater of His Majesty, the King, King Vululwandle Sandile. Avululwandle. His Majesty believes that building and strengthening institutional relationship with the institutions of education is an important strategic endeavor in the development of human capital, in building strong foundation for reconstruction and development of a new society based on the values of human dignity, equality, and freedom. As is common knowledge, that this college was established in 1855, shortly after the end of the 8th War of Resistance against colonial invasion, and just at the foot of a devastating catastrophe of Nongqawuse, which almost obliterated the entire nation into wholesale decimation. Such is the history of resilience and resistance of our forebears. Ladies and gentlemen, St. Andrews is one of the illustrious institutions of learning. This is one college in the entire continent that prides itself for having contributed in producing well-rounded individuals, fully equipped to face any challenges in the entire globe with courage and confidence. We believe that students or pupils graduating from this college, when they attain their post-matric qualification, they will enter into the market and seize the opportunity created by the agreement signed by South Africa as part of the continental program to create opportunities in the region and the continent through what is called African Continental Free Trade Agreement. So that as the continent of Africa, we are able to consolidate our continental wealth in ways that will create an economic bloc for Africa to be competitive in the world where other continents assume positions that continue to display a paternalistic posture. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a fundamental cultural trait which defines this college, so that those who graduate here are able to be assertive and fearless in life. This is what South Africa needs at this period of many challenges, yet not insurmountable for human spirit to strive and triumph over moments of despair. For it is through trials and tribulations that our human potential is tested beyond its perceived limitations. Thereby, in practical ways, it demonstrates our human capability to innovate and be creative. There is no better moment than this exposed, this ability. There is no better moment that has exposed this ability more than the COVID pandemic period. We meet here during the era of COVID-19, an era that has exposed our human limitation. But our human capability to innovate has shown that there is no challenge which we cannot handle as a nation. Thus, the role of the educational institutions like St. Andrews need to enhance our human capacity so that the output of whatever we sow is a citizen that is responsible and accountable with ethical and servant leadership skills. In welcoming this gesture of honor, His Majesty commits to build strong ties with this college and perhaps serve as its ambassador in being responsive to the plight of the poor and underdeveloped category of our society. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen, we must continue to celebrate academic excellence so as to inspire self-affirmation and hope. As I conclude, I want to talk about the importance of language, especially mother tongue languages. Language is not just a means of verbal communication, but in it is embedded a repository of wealth in terms of a nation's heritage. That is why our Constitution, the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, gives full recognition to 11 official languages and languages spoken by South Africans of other origins and affinities, like French, Portuguese, Chinese, and so on. Such is the richness of our diversity as a nation, united in purpose. South Africa has relatively strong institutions to ensure the sustainability of our constitutional democracy. This is a pivotal feature of our post-colonial and apartheid society. This Constitution has given us liberties and freedoms which are guaranteed to give each and every citizen universal access to education, clean water, decent housing, roads, and all the kind of infrastructure that creates conditions for a better life. Let us appreciate this occasion as an important step in our shared resolve to build an inclusive and integrated society whose character is non-racial, non-sexist, united, and prosperous. Let us seize the moment, and the time is now. Together, let us push the frontiers of academic excellence, human solidarity, servant leadership, and self-affirmation. We do not have, rather we do have, all the necessary tenets. Let us not capitulate, but advance our offensive towards a better world and global citizenry. And yes, we can. I thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Majesty, King Vuvuzela Sandile, Bishop Ebenezer Nhlani, Mr. Thompson, members of council, parents, staff, and the boys of St. Andrews College. If you think about it, I've been at St. Andrews College for just over 4.5 years now. In my estimation, I've been a part of this school for give or take 1,500 days. From the start of my journey to this moment is really just a few hundred days. A few hundred days later, after setting foot on campus for the first time, and I'm here, in front of all of you today. It is crazy to think that my time here at college is now slowly winding down and ending. It is surreal. In many ways, I cannot even begin to explain my emotions at this point. I feel happiness, worry, excitement, and sadness. It has been a journey like no other, a path of twists and turns, and with outcomes of friendships, lessons, and brotherhood. Several things have changed since I first stepped onto these grounds as a grade 8 on the 20th of January, 2017. I can remember that I was small, shy, excited, and scared. All these emotions were squished up into a ball that sat in my stomach as the summer sun shone through the cracks of the clock tower. Its chimes at the time reminded me that a new chapter of my life was about to begin. I remember the new and crisp navy blue blazer that sat on my shoulders and its sleeves that covered a third of my hand. I remember a tie that was bright as the ocean's colors and my blue pants that had covered the laces of my new polished shoes, which I came to learn very quickly were not as durable as they said in the shops. You'll grow into it, my mom and dad always said, as I complained about how much bigger my uniform was compared to the other boys. You'll grow into it. Now, I've always been a person who seeks to be the best at everything. I certainly crave that everything will just work out for me. Unfortunately, that mindset has not served me well. Sometimes I have fallen short, like my experiences during the under-14 cricket trials at the backs of Kerrod cricket nets. I don't want to give too much away about my cricketing abilities, but let's just say that 5 out of my 7 balls took a detour above the roof of the cricket nets and not even closely passing the batsman. At that time, I'd really wished that rugby was a summer sports choice. The lesson that I took out of the whole experience, though, was the importance of the journey. They say that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. St. Andrews offers so many different spaces in which to journey. My cricketing journey obviously didn't work out too well, but I saw at this school that I could be involved in anything that I wanted, as long as I took the first step. The joys of St. Andrews College is that pupils can take a step into anything. You may not be so sure about it in the moment, and you may also embarrass yourself in the process. But that is the beauty of learning. What opens a door to many different paths and experiences to come is different for every pupil here. For me, my failures at the cricket club resulted in me finding myself on the basketball courts. At the time, this was something I'd never done before. It was something out of my comfort zone and some sport that was quite alien to me. It is now something that I love and which I am passionate about, and in many ways, it is something that defines me. Now, I tell you this story because we are privileged to be in a space with unlimited journeys, where unlimited journeys are possible because of our teachers, coaches, members of staff, and facilities. I tell you this story because I want you all to know that life, especially at a place with so many opportunities on offer, is too full of adventure to allow yourself to remain static. The choices you make day in and day out determine the paths that open up along your journey and the new memories that get to be stored in your mind. The fun that you never thought you would have lies in your sense for adventure. Not every day we'll be waking up and thinking about climbing Mount Kilimanjaro or taking a trip to space. Maybe it won't even be about making a first for a band or choir, or sports team. It's not always the big things that give you passion. What will give you that drive to take the first step and to keep on going? Finding meaning in the little things here. Find love and appreciation for the moments that seem effortless. Seek out the joy that feels overwhelming, and seek out the experiences that make you feel alive. Take a step towards it and keep on walking. Experiences. This is, for me, the biggest thing that college has to offer. College offers boys the time, space, and places for them to discover themselves, define themselves as individuals, and also become one with their surroundings and a part of something much greater than themselves. Sure, we have our incredible sports fields and facilities around us which are open to the boys' use, who are able to practice and have fun with their fellow brothers and take the opportunity to be able to do for them to do something that they daily enjoy. We have a number of impressive buildings that are not only used for classes, but for different clubs and societies that allow boys to be able to work together on activities that challenge us and extend our knowledge. We also have community engagement activities and initiatives where we're able to get to know this place that we reside in, a place and a town that makes us feel at home. We ultimately have to understand the people around us and how we, as the Andean community, can sustainably support those in need and play a role in the ever-changing social landscape. What ties all these areas together? I believe it is the people of this institution, staff who believe in the intrinsic value of individual and shared experiences of pupils. To me, the appreciation for experiences also include the things that aren't so big. The dining hall lines where we come together and converse with each other to reflect on the day we've had and the memories we've made and shared. The trees that fill the campus up with life and beauty when we leave for our half-term and holiday breaks. The clock tower bell sounding at every quarter hour past. The benches outside the tuck shop where conversations happen late into the afternoon and night. To many people, these may just be things. Small things, in fact. But what many people outside our community struggle to comprehend are that the memories that are left behind in each room and in each of us ultimately defines us and our experiences of this place. The smiles, the laughs, the fun. The buildings alone are just a canvas for these experiences. A canvas where the history of boys that come and go are plastered all over to act as a reminder of the joys that have occurred and are engraved in the cracks of each corner of every picture. The beauty about being able to find meaning and purpose in the small things is that it allows you to find appreciation for everything around you. We must hold on to the gentle breeze that lifts us up on our bad days, or the beautiful skies that make us want to glide and soar like an eagle. Now, I'm not saying you have to analyze everything like it's Shakespeare. I'm just about done with Shakespeare after The Tempest. But keep in mind the things that make you smile. It'll go a long way to making us all remember the value of this great place. The value of boarding schools have been questioned for many years before, and it will probably be questioned for the many years to come. Certainly, the COVID pandemic has resulted in many established educational norms being scrutinized. For me, though, the role that a boarding school plays in a boy's life is something to be recognized and acknowledged. Being at college, I started to enjoy getting into routine and being organized. Showering at this time, eating supper here, practicing there. It's something I never knew I needed. It gave me the opportunity to have my days organized and set out as I was able to build and construct my life at college in small, manageable units. The importance of this cannot be stressed enough. Soon I will not be here, and I know that routine and structure will be templates I will use to deal with the next phase in my life. The role of a boarding school is to create an atmosphere where boys feel safe with one another. Its role is also to have different programs and opportunities to allow people to get to know each other and eventually create a bond that goes on for many years. All of this ultimately results in pupils who can step out of their comfort zone and put themselves in positions to become more independent and focused. I believe St. Andrews College succeeds in this better than most. During this past year, as always, college has been a place of change and development. Unfortunately, some of these developments and change were not fully expected. The year became difficult to plan for as the virus continued to disrupt the best laid plans across our country and globe. That said, the change from cadets to creating a dual corps is a significant transformative process, forming a voluntary practice which includes all members that participate while still holding on to the history of college. It is a change for the better and is symbolic of many initiatives which are happening at our school. The world continues to move forward. Inclusivity and representation have become more important than ever in the last 5 years. And this is something I'm happy to see college engaging with, listening to, and often leading in initiatives. To be able to keep up with the times while holding on to our foundation as a community and as a school gives hope that our institution is on the right track. The only thing left to do now is to emphasize it. Now, I do not mean promoting it, but in terms of knowing and feeling it. We need to emphasize the importance of inclusivity for every pupil, staff member, and activity in the school, so that the steps we have taken do not go unnoticed, and they are not all we have to give. We must keep moving forward without being totally bound to the past. Yet we must also acknowledge where we have come from, so as to be able to adjust to a world that is constantly changing, to a world that does not wait for anyone. As my last days of college life now slowly pass me like the trees on a road trip to an away game in winter, yes, I still remember these, I've been trying to think of ways to leave my mark. Leaving one's mark is such a difficult thing. Can you remember last year's speeches or all the head boys from the last 5 years? Yet, it is important that I try to bring about some change, no matter how small. I hope to see when I come back for reunions and important events in the future is an emphasis on wellness. As a wellness prefect this past year, it became clear to me that there are people whose voices have faded away as they feel that they are not heard or taken care of. Having conversations with boys on the mental strain that they feel day to day makes me realize that there's a need for more mental health awareness programs, discussions, and an opportunity for the school to try and understand the experiences the boys go through. We need to promote this cause continuously. This will allow for boys to feel even safer in the care of the badge and not feel overlooked. While saying that, I must acknowledge the fact that college has taken important steps in ensuring that wellness has become a priority of the school. The presence of both an educational and counseling psychologists, as well as a reverend and structures within our houses, give boys different avenues to be able to express what goes on in their heads and how to understand what goes on in their hearts. Wellness, I believe, is far more important than people know, as the last 2 years have undoubtedly proven. And I hope and pray that college will continue to make it a serious part of the school's mission. At this point in my speech, I would also like to acknowledge the role of the Diocesan School for Girls. St. Andrews is part of a wider community of local schools, but it is clear that we have a special bond with our sister school, the DSG. We are able to look after each other, and our community spreads across the wall. Working with Independent Damase and Jane Dixie has been incredible, and they have helped us with many events that included both schools. A personal highlight for me being undoubtedly the organization of our Youth Day celebrations. Although this became a separate event due to COVID regulations at the time, they were still able to assist us in many ways and we will forever be grateful for what the DSG does and has done for our community. The bond between the two schools remains strong, even in the most trying of years. That says much about our relationship. It has been an incredible journey these past few years, and nothing compares ultimately to the people who have helped each and every one of us have the best time of our lives by the part that they have played. So I must thank the following: the teachers that teach us boys and adapt how they teach through the different phases and processes as we grow up. The cleaning staff that ensure our work and living spaces are clean and ready for us to put in the hard work. The ground staff who work every day to elevate the beauty of this amazing school and create a place in which is incredibly beautiful. The kitchen staff who cook nutritious meals that keep us going every day. A special mention has to be made here to Mama Gladys, who celebrated her 41 years of service here at college. We thank you, Mama Gladys. She, in many ways, characterizes the attitude of so many people at this institution. People and staff who are fully invested in the institution. How lucky are we to have people like this? The success of a school is dependent on the investment of their staff. The response of many of our staff to cook during the service delivery process should be proof enough of how invested they are in the boys in their care. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Thompson. The efforts he's gone through to ensure this school stays running and guiding me personally as I took up office this time last year. Sir, you've been an anchor to this school, and on behalf of the college community, we thank you. I've always been told that I'm quite a serious person. Some might say deep. And I guess that's a fair comment because I always tend to look at the simplest things in the deepest ways. There's something about finding meaning and light in every little thing that, for me, makes me appreciate life so much more. Nothing beats the contentment from the small moments where there was nothing in the world that could ruin them, and nothing that could beat them. Laughing with doormates as we ran up and down the passages in between our cubes and the houses. Running in the inter-house cross-country because you wanted to earn your house participation number points. The moment when you ran down to Lower Field on cold Friday nights in the winter to sing our hearts out for something that was much greater than us. There was something more than just singing or sport. These many, many moments that we experience each day should be cherished and valued. That's how we live life, ultimately, by building and acting on moments that all mix together and become one. That's what life is. Well, Mom and Dad, you're right. I've grown into it. My blazer sleeves now come up to my forearms. My tie is faded and is losing some of its thread. My shoes, well, let's just say they've done their job. My dad always used to tell me that these 5 years would fly by quickly and that all the fun and laughter would become memories that you hold on to. It hurts to say that we've almost reached the end of the line. You, the boys of college, have shaped me and made me the person I am today. I could not be more grateful and honored to walk beside you and share this badge, and most importantly, a brotherhood. A brotherhood that is now becoming engraved in this school. What remains are our distant cheers on the side of the fields, the smiles and laughter, and our legacy written in the books of history. I hate saying goodbye, because that means it is the end. But is it never the end for us? Our time here lies in all our hearts, and therefore we never leave each other. Our blood is blue, our love is strong, but this chapter closes. The sweetest thing about leaving a place called home is knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that you will carry it with you forever and always. So I leave this place sad, but content. Thank you.
John Knox Bokwe shared a birth year with St. Andrews College. He was born in 1855 and went to school at the Lovedale Mission, where he learned to play the piano and the organ. He then worked at Lovedale Mission for 24 years and was a prolific Xhosa hymn writer and conductor of the mission's brass band.
He went on to become a journalist and co-founder of the King Williamstown-based newspaper, Umvo Zabonsundu. He then went into the ministry and became more involved in social issues and was involved in the foundation of Fort Hare College in 1916.
Due to failing health, he returned to Lovedale in later life, where he died in 1922. One of his most famous compositions was Plea for Africa, which was popularized by Sibongile Khumalo and will be performed this afternoon by trebles from St. Andrews Prep and college music instrumentalists and chapel choir.
But before that, Daniel Bradfield will be chatting to Mr. Mantata, who is leaving college to take up a senior deputy position at St. David's Inanda. And after that, the headmaster will announce the head and second head of school for 2022.
How do you describe your time at college, sir?
I had a wonderful time at college, considering the fact that my previous boss, Paul Anthony Edie, was headmaster of the school, and he was in Mullins, actually. So my time with him at St. John's, the 6 years I spent with him at St. John's, he kept on reminding me about this great school in the Eastern Cape, which he assumed I did not know. But having been a master at Queen's College and a director of cricket at Queen's College, I got to play lots of cricket against St. Andrews College and rugby against St. Andrews College. So it's a school I know very well, it's a school I respect, entrenched in old traditional values, old Victorian values of the British school system.
So when you first arrived in the Eastern Cape, were there any differences between Gauteng and Eastern Cape?
Definitely. You know, the kids are more respectful. I'm not suggesting kids in Joburg are not respectful, but the kids are more respectful. The environment is surrounded by the serenity of nature. It's quiet, you know, kids have an ability, are given the ability to be in touch with themselves, to be in touch with nature, and just the pluses of outdoor education.
So have you been involved in outdoor education? How have you dealt with this?
Yeah, so look, Jenny to me is something that makes education at college very peculiar. You know, the boys go into Jenny as young men, as young boys, they come out as young men. So it's a wonderful, wonderful concept that I think we need to treasure and we need to keep as St. Andrews College.
So you've been significant within your role in Transformation University here. Mm-hmm. During your time here, how do you think the school has changed from your start until now?
I'm not even sure if I'm in the position to respond to that. But I think having watched the young men that I interact with in my A-level classes, my matric classes, and in the school in general, I've seen a significant growth, especially those that I've seen as grade 9 boys who are now in matric. I've seen a significant growth in how they think, in how they view society, and I think in the contributions they're going to make in the global society, in the global south, and in society in general.
What do you think you will take from the experiences here back to Gauteng, sir?
Importance of diversity, importance of listening to other people, importance of really spending time and understanding the silenced voices. And really just a contribution, allowing people to grow, allowing people to have to enjoy the importance of dialogue and actually understanding society better through dialogue and conversing with one another.
What do you miss the most about college, do you think so?
The boys. I'll definitely miss the boys. I'll miss the cricket. I'll miss my colleagues. I'll miss Mr. Thompson. I need to point out to you that actually Mr. Thompson made me housemaster at St. John's. He was second master at St. John's, and I remember I was running around giving the head of school at the time, Mr. Roger Cameron, a difficult time, not wanting to be housemaster because I thought it was going to tap onto my time. It was going to, I would not have my personal time. And Mr. Thompson called me in, and after 15 minutes having conversed with Mr. Thompson, I had signed up as a housemaster, and he sent me to Australia, I think, for 3 months. So my friendship with Mr. Thompson goes a long way.
With that in mind, sir, on a scale from like 1 to 10, how much will you miss us?
No, 10, definitely. In fact, more than that. Yeah, it's friendships, it's people you meet, and it's a small world. I always say to people, treat people the way you'd want them to treat your son in your absence. And I hope I've lived to that motto, I've lived to that philosophy, where when I look at a boy, I always ask myself, if he was my son and I was absent, how would I want someone else to treat him? And yeah, I've made friends across the staff, across the community, the old boys and the boys. I'll definitely miss that human interaction.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, we miss you too, greatly.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
Give a thought to Africa, 'neath the burning sun, there are hosts of weary hearts, waiting to be won. Many lives have passed away, and in many homes there are voices crying now to the living God. Tell the
has become a tradition at this part of the ceremony to announce the head of school and the second head of school for 2022. I'd ask these two boys please to come forward to receive our congratulations. Second head of school, Mlibo Quteni, and head of school, Nicholas Lane. Please come forward.
Warm congratulations to Nicholas Lane and Mlibo Quteni, and we wish you everything of the best as you lead college through 2022. The Bishop will now close our proceedings with a prayer, and then we ask you all to stand and join in the singing of the national anthem.
Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Keep safe, and we look forward to seeing you next year, hopefully in person.
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for the gift of this day, the speech day in St. Andrews. We give you thanks for our headmaster, Alan Thompson, and his family, for all professional staff, for admin and ground staff, and all those who make this school to work. Thank you, Lord, for this special privilege to have our King, Vululwandle, in our midst with the royals. And thank you, Lord, for all the achievements, the hard work of our boys. We give thanks for those who have achieved. We pray for those who have not achieved, that education may remain in their hearts an instrument of success. Lord, we commend to you all what has been done and said in this place. Makathi uThixo woxolo owayivusayo ekufeni inkosi yethu Yesu Kristu, umalusi omkhulu wegusha ngegazi lakhe lomnqophiso omjongo naphakade, anganenza nifezeke, nenze nezinto ezamkelekileyo kuye, nibe yilento angayena ningaba yiyo. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you in the coming in and the going out. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Now
give a round of applause to